Welcome back. Your ability to produce customer satisfaction is important because your organization's ability to successfully accomplish service encounters of the first kind forms the foundation for being able to move to service encounters of the second kind. In a service encounter of the second kind, we don't ask such a simple question as, what do you want? Your company approaches the customer and asks a more open-ended question, a question that could invite a very different response. Instead of, well, what do you want? We approach the customer and say, Mr. Customer, how do you want it? What way would you like it? Now, customers, being individuals, will look at a question like that and answer somewhat like Frank Sinatra. They'd say, well, you know, as long as you've asked, I want it my way. Can you change the color? Can you split the deliveries? Could you do the shipment in different types of containers? Could you modify the nature of the policy that comes with it? Could you do something special just for me? Since you've asked how do I want it, well, I'd like it my way. Now, what is the focus of your organization? What are you going to do for the customer in this kind of a situation? You can't just say, well, get it right the first time, zero defects, standardize, standardize. Instead, the focus has to become being extremely flexible. Your organization has to become more adaptable because customers are going to ask for things in many different ways. In fact, the whole organization has to commit itself to becoming more and more responsive. What's the goal of an organization in a service encounter of the second kind? Well, over here it was to standardize, get everything going the same way every time. Over here, the same way won't satisfy the customer every time. So instead of standardize, we need to customize. Customize. Now, an interesting thing happens here. Many organizations look and say, well, we're perfectly organized to be able to produce successful service encounters of the first kind, but it may be that the way we're presently engineered isn't quite as responsive or flexible or adaptable as it needs to be in order to produce happy customers in a service encounter of the second kind. Maybe our engineering needs to be redone. Maybe our whole organization needs to be re-engineered. Big challenge. What do we do with the breakdowns that inevitably show up? Over here, we were concerned about eliminating them, making them go away. Over here, what are we going to do? We don't quite know what they are until they show up. So you can't just say, eliminate, eliminate. Here we have to make a different kind of commitment. When a breakdown does show up, we're not so much going to eliminate as commit ourselves to overcome. The people inside this organization have to have a different mindset. If the mindset is, I hope that customer is not a pain in the neck, then, well, over here, you've just asked the customer to be a pain in the, well, at least to tell you how he wanted it, so you could do it his way or her way. So the mindset needs to change. And in successful companies that deliver service encounters of the second kind, the mindset of the staff is not so much, I hope he's not a pain in the neck. It's more, we'll do something special for you. We'll go out of our way for you. Now that's an interesting phrase. Think about it carefully. We'll go out of our way for you. What does that really say? It says that that organization has its own way. Oh, but for you, they're willing to go out of their way. That reveals that what you really have is an organization that does service encounters of the first kind, but for you, we're willing to do a service encounter of the second kind. Or you get companies that say, our mindset is, we will bend over backwards for you. And some folks, like myself, will do their very best to even write it backwards for you. In an organization like this, you have to provide training. But training in just accuracy and procedures isn't going to solve the situation, isn't going to produce a solution for your customer. Instead, we need to train people here to solve problems. And in fact, before they can even solve the problem, we have to teach them to listen in a different way to understand the problem. So we'll train them in listening skills. We'll train people here that even if the answer is, no, 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 we don't usually do it that way, don't say no to the customer. Instead, think about it and find a yes. Now, if your organization does all of this and does it well, you're not just going to get customer satisfaction. Your customer is going to get something else, something a little higher, a little more prestigious, a little more elite. Here, we get customer delight. And they should be delighted. After all, you said, how do you want it? And they say, well, I want it a special way, my way, maybe a way you've never done it before, and yet you did it for them. They're not just going to say, I'm a satisfied customer. They'd say, hey, I'm a delighted customer. Now, here's the question for you and your colleagues to discuss about your organization. If you ask one of your customers, how would you like it? And he poses to you a challenging, I want it my way. What's the likelihood on a scale of 1 to 10 that your organization is going to produce customer delight? Take a moment again. Discuss this with your colleagues. In today's world, customers expect more variety, flexibility, and customization than ever before. Can you identify ways in which your organization can be more adaptable and responsive? Are there things you can do to produce more customer delight in service encounters of the second kind?